I would say. So delighted to have you all here. I know there
Same here.
are students are streaming in, and we don't want to delay further. And I'm not sure where Anna is or Apratim is, but I hope they join and they can sort of be prompted by the organizers. So, we just take this opportunity to sort of get to know a little bit about your universities, maybe if kind of a 2-minute intro, and also something about yourself so the audiences know. Hi, Apratim. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Arjun. Good to see you too.
Great. So, this is a great opportunity for students to get an overview of what's changing in admissions, particularly in the Canadian context, but also figure out how Canadian universities offer such unique and interesting opportunities for students not only interested to study, but looking at settling down in the future. As we wait for more panelists, I would, ask Deepa to introduce yourself first, and then maybe Divya and Apratim. So we'll go in a reverse alphabetical order. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Arjun, and good evening, everyone. Once again, I have interacted with quite a few students, so hopefully a
Yeah.
few of them are in the session right now. I'm Deepa once again and represent Queens in India and subcontinent. Queens is one of the oldest public institutions of Canada, very, very old and renowned, offering wide variety of programs. We have broadly 6 faculties under which all our undergrad programs are kind of delivered. And these are available in both major minor options, and students have the opportunity to do medials as well. Now, the thing about Queens is that we are like obviously in one of the most popular provinces, and we are midway, kind of halfway to everywhere. So our location is quite, uh, in the sense that we are really able to reach to all the prominent cities, including Toronto, Ottawa, in no time, and we are in the middle of everywhere. And about our preparation and how we are reacting, and we are preparing our institution and our students for the COVID and pandemic. Like any other international university, we are mindful of what our students expect, especially the international students, and we are trying to give these students an equally sound experience through online teaching and learning. So we have transitioned online. At the same time, we are hoping to get our students back on campus from next year. Not sure when, but yes, next year. So that's a little about Queens. And do you want to know anything particular
Sure.
about?
No, I think that's a great introduction. And I think, yeah, you've also touched upon one of my follow-up questions. So that's great. And I think taking the thread from there, Divya, if you want to share something about your institution and how admissions is going to be a bit different this year for, in general, Canadian universities of repute.
Okay, well, Ottawa is very well known. Being the capital of Canada, I mean, it's difficult to miss. And it's also the 4th largest city in Canada. Now, well, it is one of the most educated city in North America as well. Uh, People also like to call us the Silicon Valley North because of large concentration of high-tech industries in Ottawa. In fact, Kanata, which is a small place, 30 minutes walk from the campus, has all the big names that you can think about, Apple to Google to Microsoft to Amazon. They're all there. Now, Ottawa is also is very strategically located on the border of Quebec and Ontario. That gives you best of both the worlds. So it's partly French, partly English. Students want to learn a new culture, a new language. Ottawa is a great place to be. International students would travel to a new country to learn a new language or a new culture. And Ottawa gives them that opportunity, which not a lot of cities in Canada offer. Other than that, it's like very centrally located. It's like a 3 to 4 hours drive from Toronto, Montreal, an hour and a half from New York and Boston. Of course, you need to take a flight for that. And it's a beautiful city, ranked among, if you look at the quality of life rankings, we are among the top 10 in the world. So it's a very beautiful city to be in. Now, University of Ottawa, just like Ottawa, is very centrally located. It's the heart of the city. We are 10 minutes walk from the seat of power, the Canadian Parliament. We are 15 minutes walk from the Prime Minister's home. I'm sure a lot of you are big followers of our Honorable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So, I mean, he's a big rock star, right? So if you ever need to go walk, see him, he's right there next door. And the biggest market, byword market, is just besides the University of Ottawa. The World Heritage Site, which is the Rideau Canal, passes, adjacent to the University of Ottawa. It freezes during winters and makes the biggest ice rink that you would have ever seen. So you'll see a lot of people skating all the way from Ottawa to Carleton. It's a beautiful site. And we have close to 9 faculties which offer over 350 undergraduate programs and over 150 master's degrees and PhDs. So a student can simply integrate from a bachelor's to a master's to a PhD if he wishes to. And there are certain joint programs that he can also do at University of Ottawa. Now, as far as the current COVID-19 situation is concerned, I think there are 2 ways of looking at it. The first is from an institute perspective, because of course, how an institute treats its students is very important, but the other is in conjuncture with the government policies. And I always feel that, without the government, an institute may not have that much of a leverage or that much of, flexibility. So from the government point of view, if you see, I think it's only the Canadian government that allowed international students to stay back where other countries were asking them to leave. So that's a big advantage. And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of students have now moved focus from US to Canada. And Canada has become much more popular than most of the countries around because of the reason of, on how they treat international students. So that's one of the reasons. The other is that currently, due to the COVID-19 situation, most of the universities, including University of Ottawa, has moved their classes online. So students can take their classes online from here in India or wherever they are. I know timing is going to be a bit of a concern, but there are going to be repetitive classes, so they can take what suits them the best. From a government perspective, students who study online are still eligible for the 50%, if they even do their 50% of their course from here in India, they are still eligible for the post-study work permit, irrespective of, in spite of the fact that they've done part of their program from here in India. So these are the few of the changes which I feel Canada has introduced for its international students that are very positive and a great step from both the government and from institutes in Canada.
Thanks, Divya. That was actually a pretty good introduction and also an interesting sort of reply to the question. And I feel Canadian government has actually taken proactive steps and not just opened up their borders, because there could obviously be a second wave of outbreak, and it's the wisest thing to do. Studying online is considered now a reality. So Apratim, for you, there's this, a lot of students are confused about synchronous, asynchronous, and confusion about how to map their calendars, whether they'll become, almost like BPO workers more than students having fun on campus. Suddenly all the fun is gone. So what is the University of Toronto doing to have orientation for current students? At the same time, what's the future going to look like in your mind for education in general in Canada?
Thank you for the question, Arjun, and good evening to all my co-panelists as well as the guests who have joined us. Well, Arjun, yes, talking about the synchronous and asynchronous online learning that the University of Toronto has already commenced, basically you can have best of the both worlds depending on where you are located. Well, COVID-19 situation is a reality, and we must be very, very respectful of what actually it can perpetrate if not we are not careful. So having that in mind, the university has given this opportunity that those who are within the same time zones, for example, those who are studying from the US, who are they can go for the synchronous classes. Those who are in a different time zone like ours can go ahead and go for the asynchronous mode. So that will not actually lead to their schedules being haywire, their systems being thrown apart. So all of these things are basically sort of saved. But this is something that is there for the time being, in the anticipation that the pandemic in the near future is going to recede, and then we are opening. And in any case, University of Toronto is planning to open the campus sooner rather than later, but with all the restrictions that the government and the agencies and the health people are going to prescribe. So things like additional cleaning, things like physical distancing, all of these will have to be taken care of seriously, and they have been adhered to. And everybody thinks simple things that you need to clean your hands more often than you're used to, or for that matter, wear a face mask when in presence of someone or in an enclosed condition. So these are the focus that the university has already brought in, as well as for the residence part, because residence is an important aspect of student life at University of Toronto. And not only we are the largest university, we are also the largest residential university of Canada. So what the university has done, basically, we had multiple kinds of residences available at the university, but in an ongoing pandemic situation where physical distancing is the key to defeat the pandemic, the university has only offered en-suite residences wherein you have your own accommodation, so to speak. No dorms, nothing of the sort. So these are some of the ways the university has tried to make lives easier for the incoming class, so to speak.
Wonderful. I think that's a great summary of all the initiatives universities are taking to cope with the situation. Hello and welcome, Anna, and good morning. I'm glad that you could join. I was also a bit confused about the session link, and I'm so happy that you're here now.
Good morning. Thank you.
So good to see you. So I've been a counselor for over 2 decades, having also spent time traveling and attending conferences, and probably met folks at the International ACAC conference. So it's just fun to see that this virtual environment can reconnect us once again. So thank you, DPS International, to making this happen. It's a great initiative. I know all the hard work that goes in to put all of this together is commendable. So, we're just having a casual conversation on different aspects of the COVID situation, and how you could introduce Carleton's take on, say, one aspect is how will 2021 admission cycle be a bit different, given that there could be deferrals and maybe there will be fewer ways to absorb that pent-up demand if things go back to normal.
So I don't know if you guys can see me.
We can see you.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So for Carleton University, obviously, just for as anyone else in the same situation, it's been a curveball, and we've been dealing with the situation. That to say, we still have about 1,500 students that will be joining us on campus, living in residence. Some international, some domestic students, but the residences will be functioning basically at 50% capacity. Everyone has a single room, restrictions on how to use the facilities, cleaning procedures, restrictions how to use the gym and other facilities on campus. There will be no in-person classes for fall semester 100%. Even though students will be in residence, there will be no in-person classes. For winter, of course, we're still waiting for decisions and for guidance from public health and a lot of other little things that we need to know about students being able to get their visas sorted out, because that has been delayed for 4 months and not many students were able to get that. Flights, which are not flying. So we're definitely still thinking of how we're going to do that. However, at this point, we know for sure that students who are not able to come to us in September and would like to defer to winter, most of them can do that. We have a lot more programs available for winter than we normally do. Most of our programs are not available to start in winter and they say no, but this year, given the situation, they have been much more flexible. We also understand that some students may not be able to come in winter as well, even though they may have started or will start with us in the fall. And even if we somehow magically go back to normal in-person classes on campus in winter, some students may not be able to make it. We will continue the full roster of courses online as well. The admission going forward will not change much. We're still going to continue to accept applications. We will be very flexible with deadlines and the way we receive documents. We already have gone paperless, so students can upload their transcripts themselves. So we are kind of already been making our admission decision on electronic documents. That's not a problem. The offers will be sent electronically as we always have done, and the students can proceed with their preps. But right now, you definitely need a crystal ball to see what's going to be happening next fall. So we will carry on and adjust. And I think so far, all of us have shown the incredible flexibility and ability to adjust fast to things that are being thrown at us at a moment's notice. So we will continue to do the same. We have been very flexible with understanding what happened with AB grades, with A levels, and we worked with every individual student, so we will continue to do just the same.
Wonderful. I think we are also waiting for someone from Victoria University to show up. I know Saurabh was supposed to be here, but if there's any other representative from that university, which I haven't seen on our chat yet, well, we'll move on. Another set of questions that I normally get from parents and students, they are quite amazed by the opportunities that Canadian institutions, the highly selective ones such as yours, offer in terms of job opportunities, the work permit. How does all of that work? And also explain a little bit about the co-op process. Is it available in most universities, or is it mandated to be sort of registered in advance with authorities to be able to offer such programs? Yes, jobs, co-ops, and work permits, I would say, is something I would like to know more about, and I'm sure there are people in the audience would care to know. So Anna, maybe you could continue, and then Apratim and Divya, you could also jump in.
Sure. So for co-op overall, kind of the general understanding, co-op is when, in addition to study semesters, students have work semesters. Most of those work semesters are paid. The structure of co-op for programs that are available in co-op mode will be slightly different from university to university, but essentially students will be looking at, say, for the honors degree, 8 study semesters plus 3 or 4 work semesters, and sometimes they could be in summer, sometimes they could be shifted around. For Carleton University, within our around 22 undergraduate degrees, we have over 130 programs within those degrees, and over 100 of them have co-op. So you look at sciences, but also at business, at global studies, at political science, at arts and social sciences programs. Most of them have co-op. The way it works with us is students will study for 2 years, and in the second year, they will start getting seminars where they're taught how to get ready for their work selection, job search. They will have seminars on preparation for job interviews, how to better write your resume, where to apply for a job, where to search for a job. So we don't place anyone anywhere. Students have to do that search process themselves, but with the guidance of our co-op office. Once they have found the work placement, they go there and they work there for 1 term or 2 terms at a time, however that works out for them. And this is a paid term, so they do not pay tuition, they're being paid for the work they do. Typically for any program, we expect students to do 3 or 4 different work experiences. So if you're interested, for example, in, I don't know, pick something, chemistry, you can do 1 placement in a research lab, but the other placement, another experience perhaps in a commercial lab where you will be doing actual tests. So different aspects of the same industry to understand where you see yourself, because sometimes students see something in their mind, and then when they get to an actual workplace, they realize that this is not what they wanted something different. So it's a great opportunity to do this, try and see while you're still a student, while bills are not still piling up and you're not stressed about losing that job. Most of our students end up getting work right after finishing their studies in one of the places where they did co-op, because they already met people in the industry. They know where to go. People in the industry know them. They can give them reference. They help them to get the job, and it's not going to be the entry job because they do not need to be trained. They have already gone through that process. So Canada right now giving students an opportunity to apply for work permit right out of their graduation, and that work permit will be up to 3 years. So basically you have an opportunity to stay in Canada for up to 3 years and work. And if you are interested in staying in Canada permanently within that time period, you can also apply for other programs that may help you stay in Canada.
Fantastic. I know, Deepa, at Queen's, there might be a sort of interesting take to this as well. Would you like to add a bit, Apratim or Deepa? Would you like to take this question and talk a little bit about maybe how co-ops which are being done online now, kids who are actually working from India and working online, how is that being perceived by the universities, and will they get credit for the work permit accreditation? Anyone could take it, but Apratim, if you want to go first, go ahead.
Oh, well, Deepa, is it all right if I jump in?
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So as far as Anna referred to the thing that co-op, it's something that you need to prepare for as well. So I believe that the preparatory kind of things will be taken care of while they're doing their online part. However, gradually, if the situation is there to stay for a very long period of time, hope not, but if it does, but definitely I think then the opportunities will have to transform themselves accordingly. In certain areas, of course, they already tend to do that. For example, engineering and IT stuff, wherein you can do things remotely. But yes, so in order to avail a co-op opportunity, the preparatory side of things will have to be looked into very, very seriously, and those will have to be taken care of before the actual co-op commences.
Fantastic. Deepa, would you like to add something to that?
No, I think everything seems to be covered in a way, but I just wanted to add in that we at Queen's, we really don't have a concept of co-op. We do these, internship programs, and these, there is a thin line between internship and co-op. I mean, what we offer is a very strong program. It's called QUIP. It's Queen's Undergrad Internship Program. It doesn't happen like after regular works during your academic year. What we do is a non-stop 12 to 16 that comes right in the middle of your program. And yes, the name of this internships. So changed, and a lot of companies already started roles which they're doing it from their home as an intern. So things have happened already for a few subject areas. Things are moving a little slowly for others, but yes, this whole process is going to remain unaffected, and will still be able to find internships and co-ops in Canada as a part of their program, or being in their home countries and working.
Very interesting, and good to know that there are different universities have different programs. I have one last question, and also request people in the audience to, if you can, use the chat feature, because this is the first time I'm on this platform with the school, so I'm not familiar if you have access to chat, but if you do, feel free to put in your questions or raise your hand and then pose a question. So we'll see how that works. And in general, I feel that the world has changed, and my question is related to that, in seeing that many kids from India typically go decided to Canadian institutions that we need to study engineering, computer science, business, economics, and so on and so forth, psychology. But the pandemic has shown us that maybe it's a good time to also have a generalist liberal arts kind of education, because if we try solving problems by just using technology, you don't want to end up being another Zuckerberg. I mean, from the point of view of where the world is headed with data privacy. But kudos to him. He's great in terms of making whatever he had to. But yeah, we need people with a conscience. And so I feel, especially in difficult times, technology does throw up opportunities, but they can only go thus far. What are institutions in Canada doing to offer more electives to students as part of their decided major programs? And anyone would like to, take this, happy to, hear
I can
more
start,
about it.
perhaps.
Yeah.
So you are absolutely right. The modern world has changed, and we are no longer locked into one specific subject area. We need to have an overarching education. So most of Canadian degrees actually consist of about from 70 to 90% of a subject specific or industry area specific studies, but then the rest is something else. Students are encouraged to take other courses. Most first-year programs at Carleton University do have specific courses that if you're studying psychology, you have to take psychology. Maybe you have to take stat, but you have to take 10 courses in your first year. What are other courses that you will be taking? Well, we encourage students to take something else. Maybe you always wanted to try environmental science. Maybe you always wanted to try something businessy, but you're not sure. So those are the opportunities for you to try things. But also from those first tries, grow up perhaps a minor, something that you will add to your degree that keeps your doors open. Sometimes it leads to you switching your program altogether. The understanding of technology is great. However, even technological companies recently realize that it's not just the technical side of things. You have to be creative and you have to look for solutions outside of the box, and that those solutions could be coming from people who are not technical at all, but just throw in the idea and all of a sudden there is another way to solve the problem. So a lot of students still go into technological companies to do their co-op, for example, but they're doing something else. They may be doing an economics degree, or maybe doing some kind of, organizational psychology program, and they're still going to go in a tech side. So it's very much in transition what's happening in different industries, and universities responding to that based on what's available in the job market.
That's so good to know. It's refreshing because, a lot of the knowledge about such opportunities doesn't trickle down, and sort of students, counselors also sometimes have no time to do research that, that you don't have to just go for your major, but you can add more things. Pratham, if you could add that, is there a possibility that a student could change their major? I know it's a hard question.
So,
but
well, that's a great question, Arjun, and thank you
yeah.
for posing that. Well, in addition to what Anna has referred to and mentioned about Canadian education, the undergraduate education, the hallmark of it has been flexibility. So when you move into the university, you do not have to declare yourself right then and there. So you generally apply to, and this is in particularly in context of University of Toronto that I'm talking, but I'm sure that this is true of other institutions as well. So you generally apply under broad program categories. Also at University of Toronto, there is something called breadth of studies that is encouraged, which means that we do not want our students to be cooped up into their primary area of studies. So the whole first year basically goes into having a look and the feel of the programs and courses that they can take and then probably drop. So that kind of flexibility is always there, and only upon entering or just before entering their second years, they will have to declare what they want to do. So in our case, there are usually 3 variants of most of the programs, like a specialist, a major, and a minor. So if you're doing an engineering specialist degree and you are passionate about music or art, you can minor in any of those as well. Similarly, someone doing a business qualification and wishes to do something in computer science, we are very open about encouraging those. So that is the concept of breadth of studies that is taken very, very seriously at the university, and they will be encouraging the students in order to what and how and they can pursue these things into.
Great. I know, Divya, you back, and it's interesting to hear maybe for some of the last few thoughts from Divya or Deepa. Anything that you'd like to share with the audience with regards to how the world and how your university is adapting would be interesting.
Well, I've already spoken about how the university is adapting, so I'm not going to put more focus on that. And I think my colleagues here have spoken a lot about it. Coming back to the co-op, I think you know, I would like to mention that University of Ottawa launched the co-op education program some 38 years ago, and you know, these programs not only help gain both professional and life experience in addition to the degrees that they do, but they also are combined with travel opportunities. So they don't have to, you know, this is something that my colleagues may have missed to mention, that it's not that they have to stick to Canada to do their co-op programs. They can travel anywhere in the world, you know, as long as the university allows a student to do that. So some of our students, for example, did their co-op programs in the US at Tesla. So there are a lot of opportunities. Students can not only you know, learn and experience from these co-op opportunities that they have, but they can also experiment in the sense that, you know, they have, say, 4 placement terms, 16 months of, you know, of total co-op, and these placement terms are at different point in their programs. So, you know, they get a chance to explore and experiment with what they really wish to do, and, you know, finally what they wish to do with their careers. So that's very important. I think that's the only thing which I wanted to add to what Anna and Pratham had said.
Super. Deepa, if you're around, you could address this. And also one more question that I just thought of was English proficiency requirements, the IELTS, TOEFL, and now even, like, you know, there's a Duolingo test. I don't know if that's valid or considered valid. And also with testing not being widely available, test cancellations for the in the American context, the SAT, which was supposed to happen tomorrow, got cancelled again. So it's really hard for students and even parents to figure out what's going on in the world of testing. So Deepa, if you want to address this along with the co-op question, that'll be great. Or not just the co-op question, the whole liberal arts
yes.
versus pre-professional question.
I think Carleton has
yeah.
just to the
So
question.
I guess there is your the voice is
I
cracking
want
a little
to add
bit.
there, am I audible? I know
Faintly, yeah, possibly. So fine, go ahead. Maybe the recording will be fine. Sometimes the recording is fine and voice cracks. So we'll at least get the recording across to all the students. Go ahead.
Sure. I think I'll then cover the testing part. At Queen's, we are happy to offer an English language test waiver to quite a lot of reputed schools in India. We have a complete list of schools, and I believe DPS International is one of those schools where we are certainly not looking for students to submit their English language test score at the time of application. So don't stress yourself right now. I know a lot of things are not open, and there is a limit to being able to take a paper-based test or computerized test available. So don't think about it right now and submit for any kind of the deadline, which is 1st of Feb. And something that I kind of keep adding is that language test is mostly for us. We recommend students to still take the test because of the visa purpose. I mean, we as a university understand your background, where you're coming from, and we obviously see your performance throughout 10th onwards. So if you have been a consistent performer, there is no requirement of submission of test scores at all. But at the time, if you're planning to come to Canada, irrespective of the institution, you must take the exam for a smooth permit process. That of time, a very critical aspect of your visa applications. Do take IELTS, TOEFL, at that point of time, but don't stress yourself right now. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Thanks, Deepa. So I think we're close to ending a session, and I don't see the feature of raise hands or questions coming in. So in the next 2-3 minutes, viewers, please feel free to post something in the chat. In the meanwhile, I wanted to give all the listeners an opportunity to know that during this era of COVID, we've started collaborating with many other counselors, schools, and independent counselors of repute to offer interesting opportunities for students. All of us are fatigued by looking at the screen and jumping from one webinar to another. In an effort to sort of consolidate a few things in India and South Asia, we started this initiative, and I wanted to share my screen to show you what we are doing. This is a college fair which is open to any student, and our next fair, I'm not sure if you're able to see it, but if you are, that's great. Share the screen. But this is on 18 September. Many universities from different parts of the world, including Indian universities like Ashoka, Kriya, Plaksha, Flame, Jindal, Ahmedabad University are participating. So keep an eye out for this. I don't want to plug in a lot more information, but just thought a lot of our universities are currently who registered are from the US, but would love to offer the panelists an opportunity to be part of this. So we'll definitely send out invites to all. Students can simply go to the FAIR website and register, and they will get an invitation. So that's for now. I think that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today, and I will look forward to having further conversations with students at DPS International and with all of you at some forum or the other. You're all net trailblazers, so to speak. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing you.